Started lopping days.
Better.
Up on that.
Good evening. We'll call to order the Tuesday, September 3rd meeting of the Collegedale City Commission. Thank you all for being here with us this evening. Before we begin our meeting this evening, I've asked Commissioner Baker to lead us in the pledge and the invocation. Will you stand, please?
Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Lord, we thank you for being able to be here tonight Lord, we pray for your guidance and your leadership and help us to make decisions, Father, that are good for the people. We ask, Father, that you just watch over and bless everyone here. And God, we just praise you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Let's pledge allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Baker,
Present.
Commissioner Lamb,
Here.
Commissioner Sadler,
Here.
Can you hear me now?
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Lloyd.
Here. And believe we have all had a chance to review the commission meeting minutes from August 9th, as well as the August 26th commission workshop minutes. Any changes to either one of those? Okay, if there are no changes or corrections so noted, do I have a motion for approval?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval, and I will second, and roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Lamb,
I'll abstain from the workshop minutes because I was absent, but otherwise I will say yes on the regular minutes. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
Commissioner Sadler,
I need to do the reverse. I need to abstain from the regular meeting and yay on the workshop.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
I'm going to yay on both of them.
Mayor Lloyd.
I will yay on both of them. And next, we open our floor up to comments from citizens. We're glad to have Representative Vital here this evening. And Representative Vital, if you'd like to address the commission and the citizens of Collegedale.
Well, good evening, Mayor and members of the commission and support staff and counselor and citizens. It's great to be here. I always have a special place in my heart, especially when I think back about the city of Collegedale giving me my first opportunity to be involved in public service, because I had that opportunity to serve on the Collegedale City Council. And I have to remember that Katie probably remembers me knocking on her door in those days as I went door to door. And I always appreciate what Collegedale means to me, because now as I serve in the state legislature, it's been an honor to work with the mayor and this commission, and I wanted to be here before we really got into the political season and say thank you to each of you for the progress that Collegedale continues to make as a great place to live, work, play, and retire. As one who has advocated for many years, creating a little dynamic that's slightly different in Collegedale to make it also a great place to retire with Greenbrier Cove, and working with the city many years ago with developing the roads and the infrastructure to create the community we have over there. It's also contributed to some of the things that were important to me when I first ran, and that was about a greenway. And also the development of Four Corners and the development of our infrastructure, so to support Ooltewah Georgetown Road, Ooltewah Ringgold Road, and Apison Pike. And so it's kind of neat to look back 25 plus years later and to see how Collegedale continues to progress. And it's been taking a commission that has to work within a balanced budget, balancing between taxes and revenue and other priorities, but Collegedale has come a long way, and people still continue to choose to live in Collegedale. So I'm proud to represent Collegedale. The big thing on lots of people's minds, and I just want to say a real quick tidbit, because we're all watching every day with anticipation, is that Apison Pike is on schedule, according to TDOT. There was a lot of scheduling that needed to be done this summer with equipment and the railroads, and they're still working through some of those dynamics, but there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. And maybe the focus at TDOT maybe should be a little bit more on mowing grass. Some of you have been focusing on that, but we are making a lot of progress on the infrastructure, drainage, support systems. The accident with the railroad has caused us to do a lot of inspection, and I won't go into all that, making sure our concrete and rails were up to par as we progress forward. But it's pretty exciting to think that hopefully within 12 to 18 months, we'll be driving across that super span and going up Apison Pike and seeing the continued development. So I just wanted to stop by tonight and say thank you to each of you. Some of you are running for re-election, some of you won't be, but I stand ready as your state representative to continue to work with you. And thank you to the city of Collegedale to be a bright, shining star in East Hamilton County. And I am honored to represent you in the Tennessee legislature. Thank you.
Thank
And
you
I
very
don't know
much.
if you've been over and saw the big red crane that came. You know, I have a
Yes.
friend that brought one of the loads in, and his husband texted me, messaged me, and Commissioner Sadler and I went over there and saw it being put up, and pretty exciting that it's going on.
It is, and a crane of that capacity has only been used locally at Watts Bar when we refitted Watts Bar and over here. So that's one of the largest cranes in North America. So if you haven't seen it, it's something to go see. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, are there other citizens that would like to address the commission? If so, please step up to the microphone, give us your name and your address. Okay, if there are none so noted, then we will move on to unfinished business. Second reading and public hearing of ordinance 1148. And with that, we will close the commission meeting and we will open a public hearing. And can we read the caption, please?
An ordinance to amend Title 12, Chapter 1, Section 104 of the City of Collegedale Municipal Code regarding permit, plan review, inspection, and development fees.
Okay, with this being a public hearing, are there any citizens that would like to bring forth concerns, ideas that you have regarding this ordinance? Okay, if there are none so noted, we will close the public hearing and we will reopen our commission meeting and comments from the commission.
So I was shocked to find out in the last meeting, we were $340,000 in the hole. It was never brought to our attention during budgets or any concerns along the way. I don't know that, and I've got some friends that are developers, and they're not in favor of this. And I know that we've always done things a little different in Collegedale. And I guess I'm just shocked that we didn't know this before now.
We finished the analysis with MTAS to get the total number. It was shocking to us as well. And based on that recommendation and mimicking our peers is what we have brought forward to you to try to close that gap some. We're not trying to lead out and be the highest fee municipality locally. Again, we're trying to mimic our peers.
Well, I too was shocked by that. I mean, 340,000 is a lot to be missing. But I do feel like it is important to be on par with what other communities are charging. I think that's only fair to our citizens.
I would like to see us wait until next year at budget time and do this versus now. My personal opinion.
Okay. are you
We did
making-
mention during the budget process that the expected revenues were including this upcoming fee increase that we'd be presenting.
How would that benefit us to wait?
Well, I think it would give us opportunity to send out communication and talk to developers along the way.
You don't think that's already been done by the people in planning in the inspection? That they
Nobody's
haven't
told
reached
me.
out?
Nobody's told me, so I really don't know, Katie.
We did a study with the help of the state to see how far we were in the hole, and then again, are mimicking our peers that are working in Hamilton County. And we're grossly under what our peers are charging. Obviously, if we reach out to the folks that are paying for the permits, their feedback's always going to be that we should charge less or nothing at all. And so the question really comes down, do you want the existing citizens of Collegedale to supplement new development, or do you want those developments to pay for themselves? And we're trying to bridge that gap with this proposal.
Well, this is also paid for by the citizens when they pull a permit. So in a way, this is increasing a tax on them, just not a property tax.
It would be, yes, for new home construction and that sort of thing, or some of the others,
Well, how did we get so far in the hole is what I'm wondering.
because we haven't raised fees in a decade and a half.
Yeah, I think 18 years.
In 18 years?
I believe it's 18 years. Is that correct? Okay.
15 plus years, we haven't raised fees for permits?
The only fees that have been raised since Andrew and I have started were the land development fees, and that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And at that time, we copied what TDEC charged for those fees. And honestly, it doesn't fully cover staff time either. But those are the only fees I'm aware of that we've raised.
Well, I would agree with Commissioner Sadler from the standpoint of remodels, but under new construction, I think it's important that we not continue to lose this amount of money. I mean, this is a lot of money to be losing.
How does it compare the difference between local citizens and the developers? Who pay, I mean, as far as comparing how they pay, is most of that money not coming from the developers? Is that where most of our funds come from, is the developers versus the homeowner?
With the large number of homes that are planned to be constructed within the city in the next 7 or 8 years, the bulk of our permits will be new home construction. Historically, I'm not sure off the top of my head how many come from remodels, but with 508 on Edgemond Road and then 210 on Lee Highway and then the 88 up here on Main Street, that's a bulk of our expected.
It just seems like when we get a record of who has paid and for what every quarter or whatever they send it out, it seems like there's more of the fees coming in from the developers than from the homeowners. So I don't see why we would wait and let let the developers not pay as much.
I would agree with that because it appears to me the biggest burden on the Collegedale citizens is going to be if we don't implement increases on these fees. I would rather the developers pay them than the residents of Collegedale. And Mr. Morkert?
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I was just wanting to add, in addition to that, Vice Mayor Johnson had made the comment to me that the last permit report only reflected like a garage addition, screen porch. And so new permits have been down. However, I think it's the silent before the storm because Chastain Trails is aggressively developing that property with grade work, as is Dogwood Estates Townhouse subdivision. We got a lot of things in the works. And so now I feel like is a crucial opportunity for you all as the commission regarding those permit fee increases before we get that wave and influx of permit applicants with these new developments that are not going to be subsidized by individuals, but developers. And so that way it's not as much of a burden on taxpayers, if you will. So just something to keep in mind.
Did you say we built this into our budget this year? The
Yes.
fee increase?
Yes, we discussed that during the budget workshop, that the projection included it wasn't this exact amount. It was under a little bit as we were still working on the study at that time.
I'd be concerned too about a little bit of a PR nightmare that this could be spun to make it look like we're trying to make money off of new construction.
Maybe that's why they're coming out here to build, because we don't charge as much.
We're cheaper than the county, cheaper than the unincorporated county. And again, staff was trying to close this gap and find some revenue that wasn't directly on the backs of most citizens.
I mean, those construction companies are making money off of us,
Absolutely.
and I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I would rather save the citizens of Collegedale this money.
But how are we saving them? Because they're not paying for it today.
Well, we're 340,000 in the hole.
That's just because of salaries.
But it's not coming from the citizens. Majority of it's going to be coming from the construction people who can afford it.
Well, actually, the budget comes from grocery taxes, sales tax, any type of.
All
tax.
revenue streams. And so if this revenue goes up and our forecasts are accurate, then some of those monies from your property taxes and sales taxes are used for other priorities.
So would it alleviate the cost off of citizens versus,
I'm a little uncomfortable with the word alleviate. It would be an additional revenue stream that would allow for other prioritizations for the citizens.
And I appreciate what developers are doing in our community, but I think it's only fair that they pay an equal amount to what other communities are charging. I mean, we shouldn't offer a free lunch in Collegedale. And with that, I would like to make a motion that we move forward with it.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion for approval in a second, and roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
can I ask a question? I know you got a roll. Can I do that now?
Mhm.
Sure.
Just clarification in my mind, what I'm looking at is what's going to be best for our citizens. If it's going to, like you said, not alleviate, you don't want to use that word, what word would you use?
Allow for other prioritizations.
Allow for other, because what I'm looking at is, I agree with y'all. I think that the developers need to pick up the costs, if that would help to reduce what would affect our citizens, I do also know that we have a building code that's a little bit better than places around us, that sometimes it requires them to have to pay a little bit much, but they are getting a break. So I think that based on that, and then I'm looking at that the cost will not go all onto the citizens, but maybe I like the word alleviate, even though you're talking, giving them different things. The bottom line is, so the citizens aren't having to foot the bill.
Could this also hurt our commercial development though?
No. The fallacy that an additional few $100s on a $5 or $10 million project would be the deal breaker just isn't there at the numbers we're talking about. Yes, at some point you can raise fees to the point that they would hurt development. But what we believe we're producing, and again, based on the study from the state, is not in anywhere near that realm.
Okay.
So since Debbie asked a question, I'm going to ask another follow-up. So we build our roads to a thicker level than county, city of Chattanooga?
Than the county.
Okay. So the developers are paying more money for that.
Mhm.
So it's not like they're getting off scot-free, and they're having to put in street lights and a lot of the work that they normally would put in. So if they didn't meet certain codes, I'll use Chastain Farms, if it was AG, we would have had to put in street lights, sidewalks, and all that stuff. Where we have a PUD, they're responsible for it. So I see the developers are truly putting money into the projects from that perspective.
But isn't also, taking Chastain, I know that when it was first brought up, correct me if I misrepresent here, that the houses that were going to be built out there, we told were going to be 300 to 400,000, and now they have increased a great deal.
No, I think they were supposed to be 400 up or 500 up.
I would be surprised if anything out there sells under 500.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The market's at a point that I would expect your numbers to be 5 to 9.
I was wondering, because when I talked with the gentleman that was building, of course, this has been a while back when they first started, he was talking $300,000 to $400,000 homes. And now it's gone up, my understood was it's gone up to like 500 to 800,000, which is very difficult for people to afford, but the people that can afford them are your more professional people and so forth. We got to bridge the gap. Are we going to be, we're going to be eating more of the product is what I'm going to say.
I don't think our citizens want us to go in the hole.
No, and
No.
that's what I'm worried about. I want what's best for them. So I'm thinking that we need to bridge it. If there's some way that we can be cautious as to, not maybe the maximum, but there's going to have to be some type of an increase in order to.
We felt like mimicking our peers was a very cautious
I don't want
approach.
it, I don't want it to, I want it to relieve our city, not, not add to them. Because we worked really hard to keep property taxes and everything down. I mean, we've only had, I'd say I've been here 25 years, 2 increases. And they were minimum actually compared to other cities. And so I'd like to, we've been very good about being able to balance everything. Then again, I know that the price of things have gone up. I mean, we have a, and that's not our fault, that's the economy. And so I think that it's going to get worse if we don't increase some. So the public would have to eat quite a bit of it, and I don't want that. So I'm going to.
I don't know that they're eating it. I mean, per
That might be a
se.
first choice of words, but what I'm saying is that.
But we just
somebody's
take
gonna
that
pay
pot
for
of
it.
money, whether it's, 10 million, 15 million, whatever the pot of money is.
Yeah,
We just have to allocate that to that department,
and be more,
like we have for years. I mean, we've
Yeah.
always done that.
I think that's well said.
Well, we as a city can't afford to go in the hole on this.
No,
We're already,
we, we've worked
Oh,
hard.
we need
as far as
we need to
can.
not go in the hole anymore.
Yeah,
Let's fix it.
we need to do that, and that's what we've strived for, this commission has over the years, because we've come a long ways. I don't want us to go backwards. I don't want to put our city in a position that they're nearly bankrupt again.
Well,
outside of doing a increase in fees, what else can we do for the department?
Decrease the size and therefore the service of the department. We've done everything that's readily available to reduce the cost. We utilize non-FTEs to fill in our inspections so that we don't have to pay benefits as we can and deal with some of the peak workloads and that sort of thing. We still are using some of our codes enforcement folks are still part-time. So it's a pretty lean department right now, and there's nothing readily available or apparent to reduce some of those costs that are reasonable that we came up with or that MTAS brought to our attention either. And they actually, and Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong, but their recommendation was more aggressive than this. We were trying to be very cautious and not jump out too far, not lead out on being the highest fees in the region. And that's why we were recommending to just copy the county and a couple of other municipalities rather than jump all the way out as far as MTAS suggested.
Well, I appreciate the developers. I appreciate the fact they want to develop quality communities in the city of Collegedale. But at the same time, this is a desirable address. This is where Many developers have chosen to develop, want to develop, and I think in fairness to our citizens, we need to increase these fees.
You have a pending motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
We have a
It's already-
motion.
it's
First
already-
Well,
and
we,
second.
we have,
You got to
We're
vote.
ready to
Oh, I
vote.
gotta vote. Okay, yay. Do I need to say
Commissioner-
that louder? Yay.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Commissioner Sadler,
Nay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Nay.
Mayor Lloyd.
yay. Okay, next piece of business is new business, approval request of Tyler contract amendment.
So this is an amendment that the only thing that it changes are the payment terms, and it benefits the city. Instead of upon effective date of the contract, it's upon delivery of the services. So that's it. It's just a simple change.
So I'm not familiar with Tyler Technologies.
This is the contract or it was brought to you maybe a month or two ago, where we're moving our finance software into the cloud.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yes, okay,
It's great software. The court used it too. Big fan.
okay.
So it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, and this benefits the city, this amendment.
Okay. Well, thank you. Other questions from the commission?
I move that we accept it.
Motion
Second.
approval and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Commissioner Sadler,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay. And next item under new business is approval request for the purchase of DPW equipment, a mini track loader.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission members. I'm looking for approval to purchase a ditch witch, which is a mini track loader. It was part of the budget that was approved by the commission. This actually came a little bit under. $65,000 was the budget. This piece of equipment's at $52,000. But we are looking, they do come with a number of attachments. We want to at least get the equipment in hand and then see which of those attachments would best suit our needs.
What does it come with initially?
Right now, it's just a 48-inch bucket.
Now, do you have a certain use for this, an area within Public Works that you're targeting?
A lot of different areas. It's actually a smaller kind of walk-behind piece of equipment we can get on the greenway, to bring in mulch, to fill in low areas. It just isn't as heavy as a mini excavator or some of the other pieces of equipment we have, so.
Those
Kind
are pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a stand-on piece of equipment, rubber track. We'll get a lot of use out of it. Road, landscaping, greenway.
Can you
Number of
haul
different
off
areas.
dead wood with it?
Absolutely.
Okay,
There
good.
is a grapple with it. Yep.
All right. Other questions on the commission?
So we have the money in the checking account right now to buy this?
We do.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion for approval and a second?
Second.
And a second, and roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Commissioner Sadler,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, thank you for the great job you're doing. Appreciate the city's looking better. Appreciate the pressure you're putting to get some weeds removed.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's looking much, much better. Request for reports from city administration.
The only thing I need to mention tonight is we will have an emergency repair on Pine Hill. So procurement will be handled through the emergency repair process. I will keep you informed. Chris is meeting with contractors currently to develop a plan and get some pricing. But that head wall is continuing to collapse. It actually got worse over the weekend, and so we're working diligently on that. But as you know, through that emergency repair process, I'll coordinate with the mayor, and then we bring it to the commission afterwards so that we can get started on the work immediately.
Okay, very good.
That's it.
Any, okay, nothing else further from city administration and from the commission?
I have a question. What's being built on Udawaringo Road past the nursery school? between there and the storage units on the right-hand side, the same side as the construction of where all the water came out.
The
over-
townhouses?
No, no.
No,
it's
on
between the-
down on the other side of the nursery.
Railroad tracks.
Oh,
They
that,
cleared
what's
it
the name of
all.
that project? It's an office warehouse project. It's changed names multiple times over the last 5 years, I think.
Isn't it owned by the same people that owns the daycare?
No.
I know they own the land across the street.
Did that come to the planning commission?
Oh, long time ago.
A long time ago. It's
Okay, I've
changed
not-
hands.
Ever
I
since I've
thought-
been on it, it has not come.
Right.
That's
That project started at least 5+ years ago, and it's been through, I want to say, 3 owners at this point in time, and it's
I
been
thought
slow
maybe
going.
they'd given up on it.
But that, to me,
Been
that
so
really needs
long.
to be, shouldn't be grandfathered. They should have to reapply for that. If that many owners has gone through.
It's the same footprint and same usage. So once it gets
But
zoning
still, I think
approval.
that they still should have to go through the process. I mean, has any of the laws updated on any of the, I mean, I don't know.
No, the project now that they're constructing is the same one that was approved before.
All right, other questions from the commission? I first of all would like to applaud our Public Works Director for the great job he's doing, and especially getting the weeds, pressure put on to get the weeds knocked down along Appleton Pike. It looks 1,000 times better. That's much, much appreciated. That has been a concern by a lot of our citizens. So thank you for putting that pressure on and getting that taken care of. And I hope we can stay ahead of that and continue to see some of these improvements made until that project is finished, which we hope is sooner rather than later. Also want to thank our vice mayor for the great job in what we witnessed along with the sediment and erosion that was taking place in the video that you shot. Thank you for that. And I appreciate everyone's efforts to remediate that and, have the developer address that issue as quickly as possible.
Yeah, my concern is, and I think Commissioner Baker brought up, the discharge seems awful high.
Mhm.
And I brought up too, that the ditch does not seem very deep in front of that.
The ditch
And-
isn't very deep in front of that. It
I
is,
know that you said it's TDOT's responsibility, but did we call them or anything after that? We talked about all that?
we have not called TDOT yet. We're waiting for the county to finish their inspection.
I'm
We
talking
did,
about a couple weeks ago when we brought it up.
we've not called TDOT. We can reach out to them and see what they want to do as far as maintenance. Outside of mowing, they typically don't do a lot.
And remember, underneath the culvert, underneath the daycare, it's not flowing water.
Yeah, it's,
And that was my concern
Yeah.
it may have been a month ago.
the cross drain is clear, but that ditch honestly needs to be repulled. And Chris went out there and did an inspection today, noted several things, and we'll follow up with TDOT on the flow line of the ditch needs to be addressed, which should at the same time deal with capacity. And then we're waiting to hear back from the county on what measures for erosion control possibly failed or became inundated.
And I will say that this isn't the first time that's happened. Saturday was not the first time.
That-
It's been a river of mud with previous rains.
Yeah, that area has historically flooded always.
Not that bad. I mean, I've seen it
No.
a few inches.
But yes, we'll follow up with TDOT and see if they have any plans to address their ditch after we get a little more investigation from the county on what cleanup they're going to make the developer do.
I talked to a business person across the street and he said there was mud over there. So I
He
don't
did.
know if.
He sent me the pictures and
I
I
don't know if
asked
the
the,
developer's gonna go over there and clean it up. It shouldn't be their responsibility to clean up that mud.
it should be the developers, but they have to work through the rules of the permit to get permission to go on someone else's property. And in the email exchange, I included his number.
Cause I don't know if water ever it's pretty close to the building. You know, I didn't sit there and because so much traffic, I didn't want to sit there and become
Right.
I'm not sure if it got in the buildings or not. I don't know if we would have heard it by now, but
I've not been told that, but there is
it's pretty
definitely
close.
gravel and sediment on the other side.
What about, because I live behind there, but what about the ditch? And I've said years ago that the ditch is not deep enough. And that's a lot of the issue, but there's overgrowth as you go from where the daycare is and, past the, where they're building, up past the daycare. All that area that was a ditch is just filled with grass. And so it's not deep. So like that needs to be dredged out all the way to where it goes underneath the what is it, Jeff? The
Culvert.
culvert, but then it goes underneath the railroad, the big thing. You can walk under it. I can anyway, because I'm short enough.
I think there's a place before there.
There's a
Yeah.
place before there.
Yeah, but all that is, it gets all backed up. It's like it's just filled and it's blockage. So that was my concern. That seems to be the big issue when it rains. It floods over, yes, but it doesn't have a flow path. So it's stagnated.
Yeah, and so the only area that can be repaired by an organization will be what's within the right of way, which will be
Yeah.
TDOT's responsibility. The maintenance of the ditch is a civil matter, which is required to be done by the property owner. It's honestly a situation in state law that is not spectacular because you have natural flow requirements where you are required to allow stormwater to flow onto and off of your property. But a lot of these private ditches are maintained by the homeowners and they don't do a great job. They don't have the knowledge or the equipment to do it.
What about the developers? Because, I sit on my deck and watch the lake, and it has gotten a lot better. I'm going to tell you that they have laid pipings and stuff. But what have they done on the backside of that property to alleviate the flooding? Because, there's water on the land because it doesn't have enough drainage. It doesn't have it for the seepage to go. Like when it's rained these last few days. It's not as stacked up like it was before. Because, I looked down and I can go fishing. It was so deep in water. And I thought maybe they hit a spring or something and because we do have a lot of springs in the area. So what has been done to prevent something like that from happening I know they brought in dirt to fill in stuff.
Yeah.
But how's that?
I'm not sure where they are on the phase of construction or the installation of the stormwater conveyance network.
So they've got the retention ponds, correct, Andrew?
They have the erosion control ponds are in. Yes. Which will be converted over to the detention ponds.
So
after-
how deep are those? They look pretty big when I saw.
There's one right there by the road, just right over.
They're pretty good size. I don't know how deep.
I almost think that culvert that's coming to the road is a lot lower in that retention pond or whatever you want to call it right now, but it seems awful low and that much water to be coming out. It was like truly 1.5 feet just straight out.
Yeah, Chris noted several questions in today's inspection on the structure to that culvert. And some of the gravel that left appears that it would have been a filter ring on the back side that should have been sized larger for that.
Do we permit that or do they have?
That's through the state and Hamilton County Water Quality.
Well, I'd like to see what they approved because apparently something's not working.
Yeah, we noted several questions. We're waiting to get the results of their inspection.
Well, and on that same rainfall along the western side of the western lanes on Appleton Pike, right in front of Scooters, the water was almost impassable.
Yep.
For cars. Were there drains that were stopped up, or what was the reason for that?
I'm going to try to explain this without getting too engineering. That area has flooded previously. Commissioner Baker called me about it maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, and I came to inspect. The drains were installed per plan. We're having stormwater events that don't follow the hyetograph of the rainfall distribution that you use for stormwater modeling. And it appears that they're more closely mimicking what's called a local intense precipitation event, where you get a whole lot of rain very early into the storm event and not a smooth curve for 24 hours.
Sure.
It causes flash flooding. And there are not design requirements in the state of Tennessee to address flash flooding. We use that 24-hour distribution. Some, like nuclear power plants, have requirements that come out of the Code of Federal Regulations, but most municipalities do not. I'm only aware of a few in the Pacific northwest that actually do that. And so unfortunately, we will continue to have flash flooding in that area specifically. There's just not enough slope to get the water off the road as quick as it falls.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Is that not too technical?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Other issues from the commission?
I just want to, to the police department, still thinking about the trauma that you guys went through for that kid. Thank you very much. Talked to Chief last time, but, I still run that through my mind. I've been there on stuff like that from an EMT perspective. And, I think about it and I think of the guys that were there. So, I hope they're doing fine.
Thank you. They're doing much better. They're thinking about it. So it's been a rough couple of weeks with all the small children.
Yeah, and I told the chief last time, the CPR on the child that drowned, they were doing a fantastic job. So I appreciate their diligence on that to make sure.
All right. Anything else from the commission?
So there was a couple comments about restaurants coming to the city.
Yes, there were some conversations, and Jason will have to take the lead on them since I was out. They were not pre-submittal meetings. They were more site selectors, is my understanding.
Good evening.
Is this going to be at Barry Payne's new place? Or
No, I'm not really sure how much I could say just because they weren't submitted yet, and they're protected. If I talk about it, I could scare them off. But we have had conversations with about 3 to 4 restaurants that are U.S. chain based that are thinking about coming here. So we should be seeing applications probably within the next 2 to 3 months. If I
Are
had to guess.
these kind of like family type, like
yes.
Chili's or somewhere that you can,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something? I'm giving those examples. I don't know what they
Yeah.
were because I.
Two sit downs and one's mostly driven to fast food.
Okay.
So the sad part is the community knows. I mean, I know who one of them is, and the community's telling me about it. And then I just find it interesting that they know before the commission knows.
Yeah, my understanding is there was an accidental submittal to the county that was then retracted that included those names.
Yeah. So just with the EDC, we're not allowed to release anything until actual submittals or something comes to planning commission.
Yeah, we've not received anything formal other than verbal conversations with site selectors.
And there's stuff going up on Little Debbie Parkway. It's what I'm understanding.
Whereabouts?
Some townhomes up above the.
There was a
County
submittal.
Fields.
That'll come in the October planning commission. I believe it's for 40 townhomes. So that would include a rezone.
See, I shouldn't have to hear it from people. I should be able to hear it from you guys first versus the public.
So we got the submittal about, say, 2 weeks ago. I was on vacation.
Well, I get that. Everybody goes, but somebody's got to be responsible for communicating to the commission.
Yeah. And then this past Friday was the first chance we got to put it on the Facebook. So
Could be the developer because he lives in Collegedale, talking to his friends.
It could be.
That is
But if
a
it's not,
possibility.
if it's common knowledge for them, why can't it be common knowledge for us is, I guess, the main point.
Those are the type items that we would typically include in our weekly wraps. I have not seen the submittal either since it came in while I was out.
so yeah, the only submittal we got was for the townhomes. So that's why that one was on the weekly wrap.
How many units are they talking about?
I believe 40.
30,
40. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful to just, as you can
That's what we
share
try
that
to
information,
do.
put it in the weekly wrap. And
Yeah.
As they come in, we try to include those.
What
I'd like
about,
to have a text message. I mean, because by the time it gets to Friday and it comes out on Monday, it's old news, from that perspective, or an email. Text message is great.
I can send out an email.
Yeah, that would be great, I think, because sometimes when we do,
I'm
people
fine
are
with
telling
that.
me,
what about, I read somewhere where there's an auto repair wanting to come in to Collegedale?
Again, I haven't got official submittals, but I have talked to 2 auto repair centers who would like to come to Collegedale.
What about the drugstore over here?
Right.
Have they coming in?
Yeah, so they actually submitted. That's Advanced Auto.
Uh-huh.
It's just going to be a storefront. There's no mechanical things
No, but
going
I
on.
mean, are they still working on it? Because I haven't seen any activity around.
Yeah,
here
I believe,
recently.
Andrew, they have their building permit now, correct?
We're still waiting on payment for permit, contract license, and insurance, so we're getting to those.
Yeah, and they've made it through planning, so they're done at my stage. We're just looking at signage now.
So there's 2 automotive places possibly in addition to the.
They're repair shops.
Repair
Yeah,
shops, 2, okay.
correct, too.
And we have zoning to keep them out at Four Corners, correct?
Yes, it's all MUTC mostly on Four Corners.
Where are they going to be located?
They've requested to come into some of the existing C2 along Appleton Pike. C2 is what allows,
Can we make sure they keep their wrecked cars off, out of sight?
Yeah, we don't allow outside bulk storage or anything like that. So then they still have to meet our design standards. So brick facades and all that, landscaping, that also be screened.
that is one situation that occurs when all of that property was preemptively upzoned to C2 is those are uses by right now. And so they won't come to the planning commission. They'll simply submit, be reviewed at the staff level for architectural design. And then it'll be up to codes enforcement to make sure that no wrecked cars and that sort of thing. But neither of these 2 automotive repairs are looking at that. They're more oil changes, tires, brakes, those type of repairs. And that was my understanding, in less body shop or drive chain replacement.
Yeah. And to Wayne's point, the restaurants, they're already zoned for what they're looking for. So that won't have to come to planning commission. There's by right.
All right, anything else from the commission?
Is this looking like, you're talking about Appleton, is that going towards the mall that way, or are you talking about going towards the airport?
The existing C2 is headed out of town,
Okay.
back towards the highway. That's why when that question came up years back about the final phase, if we were going to start preemptively upzoning, the staff recommendation was not to.
I just want to tell Ryan, thank you for the good report he sent us on the airport. And did you get the repairs done on what happened recently?
Remind me what that was.
Fuel tank.
On the fuel tanks?
Oh, so that just happened, actually, we found out about that this morning. So our technician thinks that the relay boards might have got fried in the recent storms we had, so it's not sending the signal to the tank to tell it to turn off. So they're supposed to be overnighting us replacements, 2 replacements for that, so hopefully tomorrow we'll be back in business with that.
Good.
Yeah.
I appreciate the good report you gave out.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's a great example of like same day notification that I don't mind at all. The more communication, the better.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
And I think Michelle did a great job while you were gone.
Mhm.
I definitely kept up in what's going on, so I appreciate that, Michelle.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you.
So you better watch it, Wayne.
Only as strong as the people that support you.
Anything else from the commission?
I move to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment and a second? Second, and Commissioner Lamb, and roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb,
Yay.
Commissioner Sadler.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lloyd.
Yay. And we are adjourned.